In times like this, it is a big day. Yesterday was a very big day for America. You look to the commander in chief, to our presidential leadership to set the tone. Somber. Had I been advising him, I would have said, you can comment on it, stay somber, tip of the hat to the people who are pained right now because they understand this is a before and after moment. Don't be gleeful. And make some larger statement about how America will get through it. That's what I would have advised. Here's what happened instead. Take a listen, SOT 16.
Is the indictment of your predecessor politically divisive?
Okay. So what they said was, is the indictment of your predecessor politically divisive? He understood what they were yelling at him because they were all yelling the same thing. He just smirked and smiled, didn't really say anything. Karine Jean-Pierre was also asked about it. Here's how she handled it.
Biden is a lawyer. Is he
and the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief, but go ahead.
He is, but as a lawyer, is he concerned at all that a local DA indicting a former president could, down the line, open up the possibility, set the precedent, that local DAs that don't like former President Biden could indict him?
I'm not going to comment from here.
Why don't you have more to say about the Trump indictment?
It is an ongoing case, and I've been very clear about that. We've been prudent about that, not commenting on ongoing cases, and we're going to stick to that.
So that's a lie. That's a lie. Any case involving, police and a black defendant, in which case, there was violence, or they've weighed in every single time. But this one, they want to act like they're above board, and there's absolutely no tone setting for the country from the commander-in-chief himself.
Well, look, I'm going to do some body language analysis. Shout out to Bill O'Reilly on the old show. They would bring that segment. I actually like that segment. It was pretty cool.
That was a good segment.
Here's what I will tell you. What you see from Karine Jean-Pierre and from Joe Biden is smugness. It is a smug look on their faces like they're doing our work for us, and we're just going to sit back in the catbird seat and watch it all unfold. And I think that smugness is really going to come back to bite them. Because no matter how you feel about Donald Trump, what you don't want to see is this political persecution of people. Like, look, and some people, the Democrats will say, oh, but Donald Trump said, to lock up Hillary Clinton. Okay, yeah, he definitely said that. He said that in a speech many, many times, many, many rallies. Megyn, you've covered it. But he didn't turn his Department of Justice loose on Hillary Clinton. That never happened. He didn't send the word out to local DAs around the country to say, hey, now's the time, go get Hillary Clinton. That never happened. And so I think it's important for the president to understand that our country has to be able to still be a united country, which is becoming harder and harder as the days go by after the next presidential election. That's something that all presidents have to make sure that they guard carefully.
Do you think, because this trial is likely to be going on past November 2024. And with every moment that the other two are delayed, those as well. So we could have, if Donald Trump gets the GOP nomination, a candidate and potentially even a president who's having to deal with this stuff while the leader of the free world. How do you factor that in? Because the concern in Republican circles, even though they don't like these prosecutions, they don't believe that they're valid, is that it's going to do what some of these prosecutors may hope, which is hamper him electorally, and that it's going to be very hard if he becomes the nominee for him to run against somebody with 3 indictments around his neck. The other person's going to try to play high road, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, whoever it winds up being, is probably Biden. It's unfortunate that we're dealing with a felon, an accused felon on the other side of the aisle, but that's not what America needs. We don't need to put the country through this. We're going to get a lot of that if this plays out as I just described. So that's an argument potentially for somebody other than Trump. How do you see that?
It's going to be a tough one, but my argument back will be like, Joe Biden's been a disastrous president. Who cares if the activist DAs have left him alone? Who cares if they've not looked into the fact that his family has been getting millions of dollars from the Chinese? The truth of the matter is that our border is wide open. Our economy is a mess. Foreign policy is a mess. We're leading from behind. Americans are not in the position they're supposed to be in, and he's only going to make it worse. The second thing I would say, and this is just more on a practical side, it'll be very difficult for the Alvin Bragg or anybody else to have this case with a sitting president of the United States. I think the American people are going to look through this for what it is. A lot of this is going to depend on how if it is Donald Trump as the nominee, how he manages that situation through the November election and how the radical left responds to this, because that's going to be one of their key talking points. They're going to keep pressing that point. But it's essentially like saying, how can you say I'm not qualified when the person coming after me is you? It's not like it's just normal people coming after me. It's you crazy people are coming after me. And you're trying to use that to say that now I'm not qualified to hold the highest office in the land, which, by the way, I've already done once, and I did the job better than you.
I have never been able to compost before. Have you? It always seemed too complicated and like too much work. Not anymore, thanks to Lomi. Lomi allows me to turn my food scraps into dirt with a push of a button. Lomi is a fun countertop electric composter that turns scraps into dirt in under 4 hours. There's no smell when it runs, and it's super quiet. Thanks to Lomi, we have way less garbage in our house each week. Instead, we are turning our waste into nutrient-rich dirt that I can then feed to my plants. Now I am composting with the best of them, creating soil instead of waste. I have a basically limitless supply of dirt for my garden, which is fun because now that I live in the burbs, I have one. And if you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just make cleanup after dinner that much easier, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/MK and use the promo code MK to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/MK and use that promo code MK at checkout. Food waste is gross. Lomi is your solution. Lomi.com/MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.